we've got our main planner with a passport-sized notebook. Then we have the creative writing notebook. This could just not be relevant for some of you. This could be your sketchbook. This could be where you press flowers. It could be just anything where you're having a little bit more whimsical, non-factual fun. Diary, I highly recommend just anybody if you've got thoughts. Write them down, get them out of your head. And then commonplacing. There is a whole world of commonplacing content on YouTube. Okay, so I've always been a chaotically creative person. I've been that way my whole life, and it can become kind of a lot to have like any semblance of organization, especially if you're like me and you have a lot of interests that you enjoy pursuing simultaneously or in shifts or in seasons. And if you want to continue to pursue your goals and even maybe some of your life must-dos, as well as these creative undertakings and just like growing as a person and all the stuff that's like supposed to be done in this modern world, paying your taxes, texting your mom, watering your plants, reading a damn book, answering emails. There's just like so much stuff, and you don't want to opt out of it because that's part of a robust life. And if you are like me and you have a lot of interests outside of just your regular responsibilities when it comes to work and being a citizen, notebooks can really be helpful for keeping you on top of your game. And there is no one holy grail notebook system or thing you can purchase that'll be right for you, but I want to propose to you my solution, which you might find useful if you are a creative, chaotic person who likes saying yes to great opportunities, can't resist a great project, and doesn't want to go crazy in the process. So here is my 5 notebook system for staying organized as a creative person who enjoys reading, writing, and pursuing all sorts of worthwhile endeavors. So please grant me this indulgence to kind of just like do this off the cuff, because I'm tired of writing things down and pretending like I'm organized, because I'm just like not. And here we are. So let's start in order of most universally relevant, and that'll be this duo. This is great for if you are a freelancer, if you have a lot of daily to-dos, if you do a lot of projects, or you have just like a lot on your plate. I suggest you at least do this. I have 2 notebooks, and then just this like elastic that came with, I know you get this for free with random stuff, like if you buy like pillows or shoes. This is a simple passport size Fabio notebook, and it is a dot grid style. So if you're working in multiple axes, I recommend the dot grid. I actually kind of prefer a very faint grid nowadays, but this is a great place to get started if you're not sure what your preference is. And this is where the kind of brain dumping happens. This is the most universal notebook. This is just your like, not quite commonplacing, not as organized as that, but yeah, just pure brain dump. Need to remember meeting notes, shopping lists, just any random old thing will go in here. Let me see if there's a page that I can share, because there's a lot of like, either personal stuff or sensitive business things. I guess, yeah, I had this mid-June brain dump where I wrote down stuff that I need to do for the wedding. I have project ideas of like printed projects that I want to do, and like a video planning, just notes for just any type of thing you can imagine. I had the idea a couple of days ago, of this pencil board that I wanted to make, and it has become clutch. I've been testing it out, and that's part of why I feel confident in this system now. So yeah, you get the idea. This is just notes. This is, not time bound. It's not necessarily to-do lists. I actually tend to transfer the actual like to-do list that I circle back to and like plan my day around in the planner. Now this is like one notebook that if you want to get like a style, I do recommend this one, but pretty much any daily planner you already have in your arsenal should work if you are a daily planner type person. And if you're chaotic and like to do a lot of things, you basically need to plan out multiple things every single day. And if you forget things a lot, that you have to like do the laundry, or that you want like to unload the dishwasher, planning out even like putting that type of shit on your checklist, returning something, any sort of time sensitive things, put them in a planner. So what I have in the planner, I'll show you this spread because it's just like the weekend. But you have your 2 days. The Hobinichi Techo, I think this has a page for every day. And then what I do now for the last couple weeks, because I've been using the Hobinichi Techo for half the year, so we're like in July now, so I've been using it for 6 months and it's been clutch. And what's cool about this too, I'm sorry, this is like unhinged because I'm not organizing my thoughts. I'm just going off the cuff, and that's just, it is what it is today. In addition to putting my to-dos, some days you just like, you don't plan. You either don't plan it ahead of time or morning of, and you just kind of come back to your day at the end and you're like, okay, I did a lot. I don't remember everything, but I want to just kind of jot down what I did. So this is a fun one. Had like a nice little weekend for the solstice, which was, there's like a festival that goes on in Milwaukee, and then it was Father's Day weekend. So I just like wrote just literally what happened. So this becomes slightly journal-esque. There's your journal and your diary, and we'll get to like additional distinctions here. But journaling is just facts, what happened, what you did, and then diary is more of like your feelings. If someone picked this up, I wouldn't be mortified. It doesn't say like, dear diary, this person really hurt my feelings today. This is just like literally what I did. And it's nice to be able to come back to, maybe make notes on like if I met somebody and I want to remember their name, or just to look back on things. Like I have even like on this one, my ticket to see Dune 2, and that shit stuck with me for a long, long time. This one, unfortunately, I like wrote some notes and just never fully fleshed out, but this was while Dan and I were spending a month in Austin, and we saw the nude party at Stubbs. So there is a combination of memory keeping, because I'm just not the kind of person to like write down like what I did, but I like looking back and remembering what I did, especially if it's travel related and we're like, what was that great meat market that was by us? And nowadays with Google Maps, it's not impossible to find that stuff again, but isn't it so nice to just go through this and someone can like page through your mind and the types of things you did. So it's kind of a nice relic to look back on. So it's not all fun and games. There's also a lot of seriousness and to-do lists and stuff that I gotta do as a person who works. But when it comes to the actual week, let me tell you what I use this for. So I put the to-do list down. Sometimes I'll put down if there's a meeting. I always get meeting notifications over my phone. So there is a phone component to this. It's for time sensitive, you need to be doing this at this exact time type stuff. And that's where the phone comes in. I'll get a Google calendar ping. We've got our spread, pretend it's Monday. And I have this pencil board that I've made. And it's literally just, a sheet of paper. I customized it because I want it to like look nice. I got kind of inspired randomly by like a packing slip that I received from Uline. And I just have at the top to do this week and then to do this month. And it becomes this 2-column, it's flexible. I have this like wider Post-it note that has the main to-dos of the week. And it's cool because it gets to follow me everywhere, because some tasks I'm like writing it one day and then I migrate it and then I migrate it and I migrate it. And it's not that it's not important. And then sometimes I eventually forget to migrate it and then it becomes gone with the wind. So if you have something that needs to be done this week, but not necessarily today, drop it on the pencil board. It should be important enough that it can take up a valuable space here. And then to do this month, like right now I have like fun stuff on this, like stuff I'm like watching with Dan or I want him to see. I'm like routinely asking him, have you seen this movie? Have you seen this movie? You need to see this movie. So I write it down so that I can like force him to watch it. It's to-dos, but because it's on this pencil board, it becomes a bookmark in the planner, and then you can migrate it along with you so that you don't bog down your daily list with like stuff you're putting off. But it like has to be done. Like if you migrate something, okay, so for example, the end of the week comes, I have gone through most of these, but maybe not all of them. I take this off and I put it onto the planner. And in this case, there was something that was just kind of dragging that wasn't that urgent. And I put it in the beginning of the planner in the top portion. So it's like this month at a glance list. And I used to like this didn't work for me to have this stationary month to do, or you're just like setting expectations here. I'm never back here. This is a place to demote things. It's not a place to like future plan for things, in my humble opinion. Each month has this first page, and I'm now going to start just collecting either past weekly to-dos there and migrating them there when they're done, and then like checking occasionally if there's something that I forgot about. But otherwise, it's on the pencil board. So some tasks are recurring. It's stuff you got to do every week. And that can be the hardest thing to keep track of. Stuff you don't have to do every day, but you do have to do every week or every month. That's the stuff that like almost doesn't exist in my mind. If I get lucky and I remember it, it happens. But now I have a system for it. I printed up a bunch of my weekly to-dos that happen every single week. And maybe one week I don't have to do it, but maybe one week I really have to do it, and I put a star because I'm like, okay, you just ordered a bunch of inventory for the website. You're going to have to send an international wire transfer this week. You want to pay that on time. So just always have that just in case. It's a very frequent to do. You know, expenses, bank reconciliation, business stuff. That's the pencil board. You don't have to even make it like this. You can use any old postcard you get in the mail and DIY it yourself. I found this idea from someone else on YouTube, and this was like 6 to 8 months ago, and I was watching a butt ton of notebook content, and I don't remember who the heck it was. So, wasn't my idea. This is my design. But she had the idea of having your weekly to-dos on a pencil board that you put on a Post-it, and you can move it along with you. And the idea of a pencil board is actually that you have just this like flat something to put behind the page so that ink doesn't bleed through, but I actually don't have that problem. I use in this notebook, I only use this brown pen, or like at least in the planning pages, it just happened that way. And now if I don't have the pen, it's a problem. I always have it with me. Yeah, this one's almost done. So this is from Muji. It's a cult classic amongst the planner girls and boys. 0.5 millimeters. 0.5 millimeters brown. I've been into like off black lately. Charcoal, dark gray, navy, brown is the vibe. Get into it. Now, in the back, this Hobinichi doesn't have that many pages in the back for just kind of like free form, which I think is good because some people commonplace in the back of their notebooks. If you don't know, commonplacing is, I'll put up a definition. It's a whole thing. But it's a methodology of collecting quotes, basically quotes and notes and important things of what you're reading, what you're encountering, what you're hearing. And it's cool because if you are consuming a lot of different content in tandem, if you're like studying, you can compile all these things into one place, and then it becomes a really cool way to see these ideas in tandem and how they're feeding on one another. And I think that's monumental because, I'm going to backtrack. When it comes to notebooks, it always made sense to me to have a journal where I write down just embarrassing shit, or like big philosophical musings or whatever the hell. What's happening, kind of, but mostly what I'm thinking about, and it might be personal, it might not. And it never felt right to have that in the same place as my to-do list. I can't bust this out in a meeting and like one page is like Dear Diary, blah, 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 and the next page is like, don't forget to upload that picture. So separating them out got me excited because I always had like basically this like, miscellaneous catch-all to do that I wouldn't go back to very often. I would kind of jot something down and maybe forget about it. And it wasn't like a routine for me to be in this notebook. And this is for personal life. And when I combined my information dumps along with my actual tasks, and they will often be pulled from this. And then sometimes they have to be like, if it's a proper like development project that involves multiple people, due dates, contingencies, that gets migrated into ClickUp or into some other project management software. But if it is today, this has to happen, it's usually right in here. And if it's like just me doing it, it's in here. There are a few pages in the back of this for commonplacing, either commonplacing or just like miscellaneous notes. So in the back, what I've done is maybe I put down like, okay, this was a list, high fat, low carb. So it's helping me remember what kind of stuff is basically like low FODMAP / keto. Just like what's healthy to eat. And so I don't have to exhaust my brain to think about this stuff every time I grocery shop. And some people don't have to do this. Some of you might not have to do this. You might think this is crazy because you develop habits and you become consistent and you just like get the same thing at the grocery store every week. Or maybe you try one new recipe. So you shop for that recipe when you go to the grocery store. But for me, I swear to God, every day is like a new day for me. I feel like I wake up and I hit the refresh button. And, I know that I gotta like brush my teeth and do certain things, but it doesn't feel like that much is automatic to me. So in order to help myself have some automaticness in my life, that's where this stuff goes. So, I've got a list of like ebooks and physical books that I want to buy or think about buying and read, because I have plenty of books right now and it's all a matter of just getting caught up with it. But if there's something I'm postponing getting until I get more caught up, I've even made like a whole list of like favorite dining. In the back I also have keeping track of bigger kind of desires is I have a section writing down just like little things I want to DIY. So DIY / craft, it's like house projects. This stuff is like rarely gotten to, but every so often you get a wild hair and you're like, you know what, I want to do something. I want to do something that's not digital. I want to do something that's not for work or for have to do. It's just kind of something that I've wanted to do for a while. And I have a shop list. And this helps me avoid impulses. If something's been on this list for a long time and I look back on it and I'm like, yeah, I do still want that. Or every so often I cross a little something off. But this can help if you want to like make some rules for yourself around buying things where you don't impulse buy stuff, or it has to be on your list for a long time before you invest in it. And sometimes it's small things like I get excited about like a type of crafting supply that I need, and I'm just like, don't just go and buy it. See if this is like actually something you need in your arsenal. These are kind of just like long-term lists, long-term kind of activity to-dos. Maybe you could make a section that's like winter, spring, summer, fall, and it's activities you'd like to do during that. And when you have a free weekend and you're all of a sudden like, I'm always praying for these weekends where I have no obligations and I can't remember what I like to do. So writing down that stuff can be really helpful. So we've tackled these 2 notebooks, and this works for a lot of people. You can put short-term shopping lists, brain dumps, like if you're feeling overwhelmed about something you got to do. Like for me, it's been like randomly, like I just got to remember all this crap I got to do for the wedding. And I have so much other stuff that I do. They will often end up in here. If I've got a great idea for one of them, it goes into this notebook, and it's small enough that I can, separate these out if I just want to bring this while I'm at a cafe and I just like need an emergency idea place. But they most often travel together and they're rarely separated out. These 3 notebooks, if you're still with me, are for more of the creative types it's for the writers, the readers and writers. Okay, let's say it like that. This one is quick. This is just my creative writing notebook. So stuff in here is more factually bound, and stuff in here is fiction. It's prose and poetry. So that distinction is important to me. I don't want something that's totally fake to be in my journal. I don't want that to seem like, sometimes I think about like what my biography is going to do. It's important for me to have the creative writing separate. This one is that gorgeous faint grid. This is from Muji, a Muji notebook. These are very cheap, and it's a great size. Now, you'll notice that all these notebooks are quite a similar size, and that's by design. I found this to be the most portable size, fits in a lot of purses. I do often find it more comfortable to write journal entries in a larger notebook, but right now, the fact that this can slide into basically every purse that I have is giving it major points, even though I would kind of rather write in a slightly larger format notebook. Not too big, but yeah. So these are about Why do I always forget? I think it's A5. The two major sizes are Passport and A5, and the field notes is also Passport size. So Passport paired with A5 is a match made in heaven. They nestle together so nicely. Now, this is like the juicy notebook. I think this is most interesting. So this one is my diary, thoughts and feels and stuff. I just put the date, the time, and my location because I can find that to be interesting, and I write approximately like a page or two at a time. This one is taking forever. They take forever to fill up. In my last notebook, I had a larger version of this. I skipped lines. It kind of looks like shit, but it gets you through it faster, and I might start doing that again because this is going to take me so long. When I typically write about one side of a page or 2 pages, girl, I like to separate out my journals because I end up like evolving a lot as a person. I hope we all do. And I just don't want like the leftover old ass energy in the current notebook that I'm writing in. And now this one is the cutest notebook. These are the Field Notes passport size notebooks, and they're, iconic. Everyone knows and loves them. And I have used this one as a commonplacing notebook. Now, I've got like the index and all of that. Honestly, I've fallen off the indexing. I don't really care to do that anymore, but this is where I'm collecting quotes. I'm collecting imagery. In the beginning, I was getting caught up with some old stuff, so I just had like some of these images like saved on my phone, or I saw them in real life. Like this one I saw it at an exhibit in New York, and I don't know, this is a place, man, I want to keep that. Sometimes I'm just reprinting favorite images that I just like to keep with me, like this is a banger, this is everywhere with me all the time, the One Ring to rule them all. And this is where you just put down what you're reading, what you want to remember, interesting stuff about the niches you're interested in. Sometimes it's like additional marginalia notes, but sometimes it's just the book or wherever it came from and what page to find it on eventually. So yeah, you can just go down, whatever rabbit hole you want and then be able to return to it, definitions of words, all sorts of that kind of stuff. And so because this is great to return to and contemplate, and because it's a nice like before bed light reading to ruminate again about things that I have read in the past and not put in new knowledge, these tend to be following me to the bedside table so that I can, if I don't feel like writing, maybe I feel like reading something that was important to me. That's my very chaotic and disorganized ranting about my pretty organized system, and I keep up with it. It's rare for me to miss like 2 days of planning. And if I do, it's usually because it's a weekend or something vacation-y. And then I'll probably catch up by writing little notes about what we did, or just let it be and leave it a blank page, or just put some stickers on it or something. I don't like condone, and I do find bizarre, let me say so much, when people just coat their notebooks in stickers that don't mean anything. I mean, what the hell is that? Like, okay, you saw a giant sticker in my notebook for like Bandit and Kind Oasis. Those were things I did that day. I went to Bandit and I saw the Kind Oasis people and I have like a sticker from them. If it's just your stress relief, you just like putting stickers on a page, good for you. But if you want to imbue your life with meaning and for someone to come back and I know it for the posterity of your personhood living in your planner, then like put real shit in it. Yeah, hopefully this was helpful for somebody. Hopefully you could keep up. Let me know if you want me to go over this again in a more organized fashion. That could be done, just couldn't be done today. But as a recap, we've got our main planner with a passport size notebook. Maybe you do a filofax where you can take out the pages and these aren't separate and they get to be like front and back. Maybe you do a traveler's notebook and these live in a case together and they're longer and skinnier and you don't need this A6 size. Then we have the creative writing notebook. This could just not be relevant for some of you, but I recommend it. It could be very worthwhile just to mess around a little bit. This could be your sketchbook. This could be where you press flowers. It could be just anything where you're having a little bit more whimsical, non-factual fun. And then Diary, I highly recommend just anybody, if you've got thoughts, write them down, get them out of your head. If you're spinning out about something, it just becomes oftentimes solved if you just jot it down. Gratitude, it's rock solid to write these things down and manifest more of it, frankly. And just bring more of that into the cultural consciousness. And then commonplacing. There is a whole world of commonplacing content on YouTube where people have systematically and thoroughly and really insightfully talked about it. So I will link to those that I recommend, or at least honestly just like the Park Notes channel and Megan Rhiannon and Lindsay Scribbles. Those people have really got it covered, so don't even listen to me about commonplacing. But if you want to see me page through this in more detail, let me know. So yeah, thank you for indulging me. I just really needed to get this all off my chest, and I feel like the pencil board a couple weeks ago put me over the edge into peak optimization, and now I have been so organized and things have not been slipping through the cracks unless I am completely consciously procrastinating on them. So if you feel like you need a brain outside of your brain, try this out. Let me know if it worked for you. And yeah, if you have any recommendations, share them in the comments. I want everybody to kind of start pursuing the life that they want and feeling like they've got a handle on things. So thanks so much for watching, and until next time. Oh wait, this is not about motorcycles. All right, thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. And maybe I'll put this at the end. This is bonus. If you find it hard to like find what the heck to eat on a Sunday, do this. Wrote down like just all of our personal favorites in our general area. Is it open Sunday? Is it open Monday? What kind of food? Does it have a patio? And the price. And then that just like covers most of our questions. And then that's for like dining. And then I have the grab and go favorites. Cause like sometimes you're just tired and you can't think and you don't remember that there's a sweet green. And that's a healthy-ish option. Separated this notebook out when I was doing a writing workshop, and then it has stuck with me that this has continued to be the creative writing notebook where there's more poetical things. If I'm writing down words that it's not that I don't know the word, it's that I want to use the word later, that will often go in this, because I'm almost always saving words for like poetry and fiction and not for just like my everyday vocabulary. If it doesn't come naturally in my vocab, like I'm not gonna force it. Okay, this was a fun one. So the prompt was that we like interact with our poetic lineage. So for me, I went for William Blake and analyzed one of his poems and then wrote a response for it. And I think the final ended up here. So that's, some poetry shit if you're into that.